What's going on up there? Sophia, what's going on up there?
Well, I don't know that I can answer that briefly, but I certainly can ask people if they've noticed what appear to be planes spraying or leaving these white trails in the sky. They're fairly frequent, I would say almost daily in some cities, but they are actually worldwide. Very heavy in the United States and in Western Europe. And if you notice, after a while, you see, the thing is, people don't really look up very often. They're looking down at their lists, at their cell phones and whatnot. But up in the sky, we are developing these layers of cloudy forms, and yet they're not natural clouds. Think back to your childhood. What did clouds used to look like? And on my basic facts page of aboutthesky.com, I go very clearly into the real definition of a condensation trail. And this isn't that. This is something else. And these things happen in the sky, and after a few hours, they form bigger and bigger masses. They look like cirrus clouds, the cirrus clouds of yesterday, but they're hanging in the sky at low altitudes. And from my memory, my childhood, cirrus was up high, and it didn't happen very often. And now I'm noticing we have something that is a man-made cirrus. And when you go to the NASA website and you have a look, you will see that they admit to jet cirrus. Cirrus clouds happening from the tail end of airplanes. Man-made cirrus. They say, oh yes, man-made cirrus, it exists, and these form clouds that hang around as long as 20 hours. Now, how could a condensation trail last for 20 hours? It evaporates in sunlight. It's like your breath on a winter day. You know, you have clouds of breath coming out. Would they stick around? Would they follow you as you walked? Would they envelop you eventually and conceal you from everyone else? That's what's happening in the sky.
Can you talk a little bit about what are the health effects against humans that some people question as far as what might be coming out of the sky?
Okay, well, first of all, you have to go one step before that. You have to say, we need to collect material that's falling out of the sky. That would be environmental samples. We're not up in the sky. I can't go to 40,000 feet, hold out a little container, and take a sample. So you have to take environmental samples. And samples of soil and water are being taken all over the country, and they're showing up with extraordinarily high concentrations of metallic salts, aluminum, barium, being the two in particular. Now, barium is a toxin, a neurotoxin. Barium is as bad as arsenic. Aluminum is a neurotoxin. Aluminum, they say, causes Alzheimer's. Now, MIT issued a report that plants are being mutated to grow with aluminum in the soil. They have admitted there is an inordinate amount of aluminum in the soil, and that's toxic to plants. The question isn't being asked, where is it all coming from? But those who have collected environmental samples after heavy days of spraying have taken them to labs and found aluminum, barium, strontium, all kinds of metallic elements in those samples. So now you have to ask, what are the health effects of those substances? And we've noticed that everyone can have evidence of this in their own lives. Respiratory problems are just everywhere. The rate of asthma in toddlers some 10 or 12 years ago in Albuquerque was something like 4% of toddlers. Now it's 70% of toddlers having asthma. And autoimmune disease, joint pain, headache, there are any number of symptoms. And of course, those symptoms can be attributed to other things like environmental hazards. We have so many chemicals. We're navigating through an ocean of chemicals today in this age. But what Clifford Carnicom, he is our scientist par excellence in this field. He was formerly with the Department of Defense. He's in New Mexico. His website is carnicom.com, carnicom.com. And he has done sampling airborne materials And then he's taken actual samplings of people's own skin, blood, and so forth, and looked at the materials in each. And he has found, he's created a flow chart now, that there is a direct parallel between what's coming out of the sky and what's showing up in our bodies. So he can conclude scientifically that, and these experiments have been replicated by others, that the stuff coming out of the sky is now entering our bodies, and the consequences of that would be a very long discussion. I will get into that on Saturday at the Friends Meeting House.
We're speaking with Sophia Smallstorm.
Morgellons is actually a syndrome. It's not a disease. It's not something that is infectious in the sense like bubonic plague or something. And Billy Koch is the ball player that is interviewed, and it is on the Morgellons page of AboutTheSky.com. The YouTube is there. And what is appearing to happen to many, many, many people, ABC, TV, NBC, people are developing extrusions, meaning the appearance of polymer fibers coming out of their skin, sores, red oozy sores, and then these fibers that grow out. And in the beginning, it was attempted to pass this off as a kind of delusional parasite itis, that people are, it's psychosomatic, they just have a rash, and there's lint from their clothes sticking to the rash, but these are not, this isn't lint. People have tried to burn these fibers, and they don't even burn at 1,200 degrees or something. So what's happening to these people? It's a debilitating condition. When you look microscopically at the fibers that are coming out, and then you look at the environmental samples of fibrous materials, you see that it's the same thing. People are not delusional. It's showing up all across the country and perhaps even the world.
Chemtrails. And chemtrails, by the way, barium salts are in chemtrails. They are 10,000 times more toxic to your nervous system than lead. They contain mycobacteria, viruses, Pseudomonas florensis bacteria, human plasma. Wonder what human plasma is doing in chemtrails. And this is not by conjecture. I did a lot of research before I'd ever say this, but these chemtrails are nasty. And there's 3 reasons for chemtrails. The first is and I talked to my NSA buddies at Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, and Buckley, where I was actually their doctor taking care of the pilots flying and spraying the chemtrails. So I know it's real. If anybody says it's not real, they're full of it. Okay, because I'm a whistleblower. On the inside, it's not open for discussion. And my NSA buddies told me, 95% of them told me they were up there trying to spray to reflect the sun out to stop global warming. So most of them are dumb enough to believe that garbage. Okay? And also in the chemtrails, and there's a link directly that Jeff Francis found out, and I'm going to have Dr. Staninger and Dr. Karju on in about a week on my radio show. And I've done some investigations, and there's very solid evidence now that Morgellons is caused by a silicon-based nanomachine life form that does not originate on planet Earth. Is that not interesting? This is a silicon-based life form that is intelligent like bees or ants, and it fights back. Conversion of the atmosphere into a plasma for weather modification, geotectonic warfare, scalar mind control technologies, the woodpecker, which has been discovered back in the 70s, HARP, the Tetra system in the United Kingdom, Gwen towers in the United States, and the Iridium satellite system connected to the cell towers and the smart highways is all based on not only sending out a signal to track you, but Nokia, which is one of the leading cell companies, has figured out a new way to cut down the need for increasing the amount of signal by 3 to 5 times as many cell phones in the same signal area by beaming the signal directly to you. But they can also, besides the cell signal, they can actually have a biocoded signal to your DNA to affect your physiology and insert thoughts into your mind. And they have this technology today. And Nokia is directly involved. If you go to these cell phone companies, either Bell Laboratories or you go over to Nokia over there in Helsinki, what you'll find is that these are highly classified, and you have NSA agents and above government technology, top secret and above top secret, all over the place. This is not a place for making cell phones. It is a place for dialing up your cortex.